Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How is everyone today?
I think we're a bit tired.
Oh, yes.
Wonderful.
Enjoying the smog?
No.
So the show is called Deafy.
Edmonton in the summer. That's Edmonton.
That's Edmonton, totally. Where did this come from? Was it like, it sounds obvious to me what it's about, but maybe it isn't. So describe to me what somebody coming to the show is going to see, because it sounds, from what I read, it sounds multi-layered. It's going to be it's going to be signed. There's going to be text, and the whole kit and caboodle. Anybody can jump in at this question too. How is that going to look when I'm looking at the stage? Not everybody at once.
I'll let Chris answer that question.
Deafy. It's being done by us. We're the company for the Sun Theater. Myself and Asif have been collaborating for a long time. We have a brewery, it's so-called Silent Brewers, was created for the Fringe Festival long ago. And that's so similar in some respects because it has a deaf character, and later we use sword titles captioning for that. But I wanted to take this a step further from what we did with Silent Brewers. I wanted to create something which integrated my own lived experience as a person who was deaf. Because the play we did Silent Brewers is kind of a fantasy scenario, doesn't really as much to real life. So I want to take the lived experience for myself, the lived experience for my friends, what it's like to be a person with deaf, and to present a play in which presented that to an audience. This is what it's like to be deaf. So it's not autobiographical, but it does borrow elements from my own life and from the life of my friends. That's what developed with the help of Workshop West Flavorings Theater here in Edmonton, and we developed it over a period of 3 years. Back in 2019, we had an opportunity to take this to Summer Works Performance Festival in Toronto. So they created the first version of this show, and we performed it there in August of that year. But then, of course, the pandemic hit, and the opportunities and the follow-up things that we had before the play were canceled. But now, finally, we're able to get this show back on stage and present it to a live audience. So I'm very excited about that. Ask anything you would add about that?
Yeah, the Summer Works presentation in 2019. It was a great experience. Summer Works, for those who don't know, is like a juried Fringe festival. So you have to apply and they have to say yay or nay. But we were part of what's called the Summer Works Lab series, which is basically, or the Incubator series, which is essentially shows that are in development, but they want to have a first crack at it. So I felt super thrilled to do that production, because part of the Lab series is that we had talkbacks every night with the audience. We had immediate feedback, and we were
that's great.
Yeah, and we were able then to take a lot of that information and further develop it. So it was a bare bones production back then, but now we have a much more full production. We've got for example, a designer and a stage manager. It's not all left up to us to do it. It's a more, and Chris and I spent about a month just really digging into the script, and me asking hard questions of him and him answering them, and just basically saying, what is it that we're doing here? What is the story? So the script got a good fleshing out. And, to answer your question originally of what people will see, they'll experience Chris using 2 languages at once, sign language and the spoken word, which is an incredibly hard thing to do. I have so much respect for Chris. We've also supplemented this with the surtitles.
Gotcha.
It's a show that I would say is pretty much accessible to most people, if not everyone.
And with that said, Chris, you mentioned that you want to represent your experiences. You are going to have an audience, but with it being recorded, it can go nationally. It can go beyond the borders of the walls of the theater. Is that something you look forward to by being able to share your experiences and the experiences of your friends with not only Edmonton, but with probably all of Canada?
I'm excited about that. This is really interesting with the hybrid Fringe that we're doing with live performance and film performance. I think it's very innovative because really it gives our local artists, because a lot of those in the Fringe this year are local artists, gives us an opportunity to have our work seen across Canada and beyond that. The artistic director of Sound Off versus Canada's Staff Theatre Festival. And for this year, I can do that whole festival online. And for the first time, we able to expand our programming outside of Edmonton so that people all across the country could see our festival. And also we had participants from the United States, from England, from Japan.
Nice.
And just before the end of the festival, a woman from Australia contacted me because she had mixed up the time zones and thought an event was earlier, but missed it because the time zones were flipped. So it was really cool to be reaching international audience for that festival. So I feel that the same, of course, the Fringe is not them just to Canada, but anyone, anywhere can access the content that we're making for this. So that's really incredible. It's a beautiful thing to be able to have your work disseminated and viewable by anybody.
It's going to be extremely interesting to see, because you have the art of the written word, the theater aspect. You have the art of your performance, Chris. You have the stage design, as you were mentioning, Ashley, the lighting, that type of thing. But also people are starting to really come to terms with the fact that signing itself is its own form of art. You have people showing videos of people at concerts doing sign. And it can be very flamboyant, it can be very straightforward, but people are really, I know I enjoy it. I enjoy watching sign. I'm learning a little bit, not anywhere near enough to have a conversation, but it is all rounded. And it sounds like this show is going to have something for everybody, which sounds really, really cool. Ashley, was this something you said you had to flesh out the script? Was this something that was intended, that you wanted it just to be for everybody? Because a story about a person overcoming something is a great story, but it also is accessible too. Like, did you have all this in mind, or did it just sort of, the layers just start to expose themselves?
Well, when Chris and I collaborated on Silent Words back in 1998, that was definitely at the forefront of my mind. We were intent on writing a show or developing a show that was accessible to a hearing and a non-hearing audience. I remember that quote from all our grant applications, and that has formed the basis of our collaboration. It's a very unique collaboration. I have hearing loss within my family, so at a very young age, I learned how to speak clearly, so my Nana could understand me. When Chris and I, when we first met, we were doing a play at the university, Jonathan Christensen's MFA production of Richard III. And Murray Udis was actually in that production as well.
Oh, wow.
And Chris and I just naturally formed a bond because we could communicate with each other fairly well. And then at a closing night party, a sort of drunken proclamation of, let's write a play together. And the rest is, as they say, history. So I love collaborating with Chris. And I learn something new every time we work together.
Cool.
And it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing to watch someone on stage speaking and signing at the same time. It takes on goes to a different level. It's almost like a dance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. And Chris is such a great actor, so
Yeah.
I can be wrong.
That's a triple threat.
Yep.
So let's say nobody's heard of anybody here before. People are wandering around. They're looking at Deafy. What's this about? What is your elevator pitch to get people into the seats? And anybody can answer that question. I apologize.
Yeah, I'll let the playwright answer that one.
Yeah. A short elevator pitch. It's like Jaws meets Titanic. No, not like that. Yes, I gotta laugh.
Deafy. It's a game of a play. It's something to be explored and cracked open by the audience. We know something is happening, but we don't know what. We follow the story of a deaf public speaker Nathan Jesper as he's on the journey. And where, we don't know. But it's a real journey to be sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there anything that I didn't cover that you would like to add or like to mention? Anything you think people should know about the play other than what we've covered? Because I'll have all the information where to buy tickets and everything below the video.
Yeah, I would just like to encourage people who feel safe coming to the theater, who, you know, are either double vaxxed or taking steps to mitigate the circumstances, to come out and see it. I mean, the video is going to look beautiful. It's going to be great, but it's not a replacement for the actual live performance, right? It's like a mixing of two mediums, which has been necessary, obviously, during the pandemic, and still remains a necessary element. And we've tried to make it as theatrical as possible, but in the end, nothing really beats sitting in a seat and watching Chris perform live.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. This is wonderful. It's been wonderful meeting and talking to you.
Thanks for doing this as well, Trent. It's
awesome. Nope. It's my pleasure. I get to sit in my basement and meet cool people. It's better than talking to my hand. Isn't that right, Gary?
Right.
He's asleep. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your day. Try not to breathe too much of the smoke in, and I will make sure that I at least see the video of your show, if not come in person. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much.